Thank you, Annette. So really quickly, so I'm a naturopathic physician here in town. I treat a lot of brain injury and a lot of brain-based things, but I'm here to talk about the Alaska Brain Injury Network. I'm on the board of directors for the Alaska Brain Injury Network, and if you have not heard of the Alaska Brain Injury Network, you're in the right place, because you're going to hear a little bit about it. And so the idea with the Alaska Brain Injury Network is that we are the state with the largest per capita incidence of brain injury in the nation, and we're also the state with the least resources. However, looking around here makes me think that that's going to change, and that's what we're about. So the Alaska Brain Injury Network was formed to provide a place for people with brain injury to come for resources, and we advocate for people with brain injury. We go to the legislature, we secure grants, we help organize training, and we pick up the phone when you call and say, I've got a brain injury, or I'm caring for somebody with a brain injury, and I don't know what to do. So the Alaska Brain Injury Network is kind of the focal point, we hope, for expanding the services that we've gotten just a taste of with these wonderful folks you're going to hear today that will soon be gone. And so Alaskans are very resourceful, as we found. We have a statewide reach, and we have people in far-flung villages all over the state that are each one by one helping somebody with brain injury. So the idea is that we can do this all together. We've got practitioners, we've got family members, we've got people with brain injury. All these people can work together to form a network. We don't need to be in one building per se. We just need to be talking to each other and being able to help each other. And so, for an example, in, half an hour, well, hour and a half, I guess, 10 o'clock at the Alaska Brain Injury Network, we have free classes every Saturday from 10 to 2 on Balavizex. Balavizex Balanced Auditory Visual Exercises. It's a blast to play. That's where I'm going when I get done here. And you can come down, a practitioner, somebody with a brain injury. And our idea is to provide resources for people that don't necessarily cost money. And if you call, we can say, you know what? Yes, we know a good PT or OT. We know a doctor's office. We know somebody who knows about brain injury. So when you all get done with this, and unfortunately with a little bit of a confusion this morning, I don't have ABIN materials, but please do contact Alaska Brain Injury Network. You can Google it, will come up. And let us know you completed the training. We have a resource list that when people call and say, hey, I need somebody in Soldotna that knows about brain injury, we say, oh, hey, here's a person that was at the training. Why don't you get in touch with them? So it's starting that network. So that's what we do, and we really appreciate you all being here. It really, every time we do training in brain injury, we see more and more folks, which makes me very, very happy as a practitioner, because those of us dealing with brain injury are very maxed out, and so a little help is always appreciated. So, and the Alaska Brain Injury Network is there to help facilitate this. So, and if you're a practitioner, you can become a professional member. There are a lot of things that we do together as practitioners under the Alaska Brain Injury Network to support each other. If you're a person with brain injury or caring for somebody with brain injury, you can join or you can not join. You get services either way. So please do look us up and keep us in mind, and we'll help you, you help us, and we all help each other. So thank you.
Excuse me, I've had 5 TBIs myself, so I can't talk quite as fast as the doctor before me. I'm from Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. We are a DOD and VA-based agency. I'm based out of the TBI clinic at J. Bear Hospital, and the mission for we call it DivBig because it's such a mouthful. Our mission is to assist the DoD and VA in optimizing TBI care of service members. That includes National Guard and reserves, which those of you who are from villages and rural areas, you have quite a few. It also includes the Coast Guard in optimizing TBI care through state-of-the-art clinical care, innovative research, care coordination, educational tools, and resources. And I'm here mostly to talk about that last category today. I'm the Regional Education Coordinator responsible for Alaska. So what I'm responsible for is outreach, raising TBI awareness, and TBI education for the groups of service members and veterans I mentioned before, dependents age 16 and over, and providers, also family members of those who are injured, because as we all know, they are the usually invisible, unsung heroes providing a lot of the care for our patients. Okay, the TBI clinic at J. Bear, I'll just launch right into services. who is eligible for the services there. I get that question a lot. The groups that I mentioned before, and children over age 16. We unfortunately do not have any pediatric specialty brain specialists in our clinic. Those are separate credentials from adult. The usual pathway that a potential patient will come to our clinic is first they will fill out some assessment and questionnaires, including the PCL and the PHQ-9. About 85 to 90% of the patients that we see have co-occurring PTSD. Many also have co-occurring, we call them polytrauma, musculoskeletal injuries, such as back injuries, neck injuries, and knees are the most frequent. And many also are suffering from depression and some anxiety as well. They tend to be fairly complex cases. We see mild to moderate TBI. We've seen a few patients in our clinic who have had severe TBI, but they're pretty far along in their healing process. So the services that we provide after the screening documents, our nurse practitioner, or we're down a physician right now, we'll do a head-to-toe exam, a complete history to establish the details of injury. For some of our patients, that's 8 or 10 of them, injuries. And then they will put together an individual treatment plan for the patient. They might refer out to our occupational therapist or our speech-language pathologist, who both do cognitive rehab, as well as our SLP doing those traditional services. We have 2 nurse case managers for the more complicated cases. And let's see, okay, let's launch ahead into how common is TBI in the military. So I had no idea we'd have such a great response. I'm very happy to see you all, but I hauled in about 25 copies of my materials. If you'd like them later, they're on the table on the corner. So since 2000, there have been worldwide in the DoD, that's all military branches, including Coast Guard, there have been over 333,000 documented TBIs. They didn't start requiring documentation in the electronic medical record until 2009. So the first war in Iraq, almost none of it's documented. Our patients come in and go, well, it's not in my record, but I got blown up here, there was an IED blast here, anything before 2009. So to give you some perspective, this number is greater than the population of Anchorage. Some estimates are that approximately 20% of service members who have deployed have had some level of traumatic brain injury. Okay, differences by service branch. Army has the highest total incidence by virtue of their numbers. Marines have the highest prevalence rates by virtue of their mission. Okay. And fewer than 20% are diagnosed while deployed. So sometimes it's only after they get back and the spouse starts to notice that things have changed. That's the usual mechanism. Or they get in trouble at work because they're having memory issues, slowed mental processing, maybe their frontal lobe screen is down and they're extremely irritable and they're talking back to the chain of command. Okay. The doctor has already mentioned that Alaska has the highest rate per capita of TBIs. We also have the highest rate per capita of veterans. If you look at the military and veterans as a whole, it's more than 10% of our state population. So we're talking about a huge stakeholder group. And I mentioned the fact that many of our patients have co-occurring PTSD. There is a handout over there if you'd like to pick it up later with the overlap. Okay, other resources we have, signs and symptoms for mild, i.e. concussion, moderate or severe. I have some of these over there, the ones I was able to, where we don't have a short inventory, a small inventory. Headache and neck pain, head injury and dizziness, has some of those exercises on the back the doctor was talking about. Healthy Sleep has several apps that can be downloaded directly for patient and families. Ways to improve your memory. And finally, changes in behavior, personality, or mood. Okay, we also have a family needs line. Taking care of yourself or caring for others, talking with children about moderate or severe TBI, addressing family needs, etc. This has been extremely popular. It's a back-to-school guide for adults with TBI. And by the way, pretty much all of our resources can be downloaded at our website for free. If you would like to have hard copies mailed to you, you can order them for free, and they'll even mail them to Alaska for free of charge. Might be by carrier pigeon, but they do get up here. Excellent tool, very detailed. Okay, we have one for a parent's guide returning your child to school after concussion as well. Okay, real quick, provider resources. Pocket Guide, MTBI. It has the DoD VA clinical practice guidelines in here. It's got some patient education pieces, medication, recommendations for symptoms. This is being reprinted because, of course, we're now in the lovely ICD-10. It says ICD-9 coding in here. Okay. We have clinical practice guidelines for specific symptoms. I have put about 25 copies of our sleep CPG over there. It includes a provider algorithm as well as the full written explanation of it. Okay, return to activity after MTBI. I brought a stack of them for primary care managers and a stack of them for rehab providers. And these are all over there. And real quickly, the other provider clinical practice recommendations we have are visual dysfunction, dizziness, neuroimaging following MTBI, neuroendocrine dysfunction screening follow MTBI, and imminently to be released is our headache clinical practice recommendation. We also have online provider education in the packet over there. And there's some helpful websites, including our website that is in this mini packet. And also a handout for our TBI recovery support program. We have a rehab nurse, Renee, who will track people who are in transition and help guide them to resources. Okay, I also have a small stack of business cards over there. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and thank you for the care that you provide for our patients.
My name is Darlene Kawananoder Johnson. I'm an MSW social worker. Anybody that may know me knows me as Dar Johnson. The name in the middle there, Kawananoder, is kind of a big name, so just a way Dar. Anyway, I'm here wearing a couple hats. The first hat is I have a consulting business called Eagle Vision Consulting, which came out of my own struggles with traumatic brain injury. I was the South Central facilitator for a project called the BrainWorks Project, which helped individuals with traumatic brain injury, post-rehabilitative, get back into the workforce via self-employment and entrepreneurship. During the course of my tenure, was a 3-year project for UAA, I suffered my own brain injury. And so I became very compassionate, more compassionate than I already was with my clients. My clients laughed and they said, "We always knew that you loved what you did, but did you really have to go to that extreme?" And so hence out of that, Eagle Vision Consulting kind of made a little bit of a turn. Before I was doing a lot of empowerment training. I still do that, but the empowerment training turned towards being a community rehab provider for the state of Alaska and the Department of Voc Rehab. I also do tribal Voc Rehab, as well as I work concurrently a lot of times with veterans. The other hat I wear, which is probably why I'm here, is I'm the president of the board of directors for the Alaska community, the Alaska Mental Health Consumer Web. A lot of people may not know the name of the web. However, I'm sure everybody here has seen it. It is on the corner of 13th and Gamble. Raise your hand if you know where the web is now. Okay, a lot of homeless people, a lot of individuals hanging out there. We also have a lot of people that are hanging out there with brain injury, with dual diagnosis, a lot of individuals with recovery challenges. The web provides, we actually are the first, or not the first, I guess we are, peer-driven drop-in center, engagement center that provides support and peer support to individuals that have a lot of life challenges. We help with resume development. We have a computer cove. People can come in who do not have addresses. A lot of times to get services that you need to have an address. You need to have a phone number. The web provides an address that you can use. The web provides you with a telephone number where you can get messages. The web provides you with lots of support. We have a peer-to-peer every morning. Everybody gets together at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they must participate in that peer-to-peer. It's a check-in time. It's a time to find out what's going on in your life, how things are happening, how we can help you. The web also has works a lot with outside services as well. We work with the Trust Training Cooperative. We work with it's called the RAP program. We have individuals, all of our consumers all of our peers are RAP certified. It's a program to help people develop a recovery plan. Let's see what else we do. We do lots of things. We also provide, we don't do behavioral health programs directly, but we will make referrals for behavioral health. We do a lot of recreation stuff in the summertime too. We bring people out fishing. We do have a van that if you have a doctor's appointment, we can help you get to that doctor's appointment or that dental appointment. We also do things with, let's see what else. We do so many things. Anyway, our telephone number, let me give you our phone number. Write this down. It's 222-2980. We are on Facebook, so please go on there and like us on Facebook. We're under the Alaskan Mental Health Consumer Web. And our email address is, let me see what our email address is. Great, it's not on here. Okay, our address is 1248 Gamble Street. And we are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:45, and on Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I invite you to, when you have an opportunity, give us a call. We are more than happy to give anybody a tour. So come on down. The outside is definitely different than the inside. Okay, thank you very much.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for letting me come and speak to you. AWAIT stands for Abused Women's Aid in Crisis, and we are Anchorage's emergency domestic violence shelter. We're the only one in Anchorage, and we are the largest one in the state. Our capacity is 52, and we can house that many women and children in our shelter, but it's important to note that we'll help any victim of domestic violence, male or female, regardless of course, their gender or the gender of their perpetrator. So anytime you're working with a DV victim, please do refer them to us. Like I said, our capacity is 52. We're generally at or over capacity. Last year, about 60 to 70% of the time we were over capacity. So there are a lot of people in Anchorage that need help. And usually at any given time, a third to a half of those in our shelter are children, which is very sad to see. Usually very young children too, between 2 and 6 is our largest age group there. We are of course not medical providers, but we do recognize that a lot of the people that come to seek services with us do have TBI. It's not often diagnosed. I was looking back over some numbers because we track the numbers of TBI for one of our grants, and over the last 3 fiscal years, about 20% of our population was diagnosed with TBI. But just kind of the training that we've had, which again, we're not medical providers, but I think if I were to ask my case managers to report who they suspect to have one, it would be a lot higher. And so when we do see those signs, we of course refer out, and it's great to know that there's a lot of people involved that we can refer them to. We provide a lot of services besides our core service, which is of course our emergency shelter. We have a 24-hour crisis line, and I've left business cards out on the table, but that number is 272-0100. Anytime you suspect someone needs some help, please give them that number. There's always somebody that's going to be answering it. We provide non-residential services as well. So if someone is not in need of immediate safe shelter, but they really need help with domestic violence, if they need to come to support groups, education groups, meet with a case manager, get other information and referrals, we can help them with that. We want to be sure that anybody who needs assistance knows that they can come. They can call and set up an appointment with a case manager. They can come in, they can walk to the door and just come in as a walk-in to meet with somebody and speak. So again, anytime that you have somebody you're working with, please do refer them to us. The shelter itself is safe. Securities are obviously number one concern. We have people who will come and try and threaten their victim, try to gain entrance to the building, and so our security is a big priority, as is confidentiality. So it's completely confidential who is seeking services with us. If their provider calls, the police call, it doesn't matter who's calling, we can't confirm or deny that that person has been on the phone, been in the building, is living in the building, any of that. And so they can be assured that their confidentiality is going to be maintained when they're at the shelter, because I think that's a huge concern for people when they're seeking services. Thank you very much.
Good morning. So my name is Tara Stiller. I work at the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium. My official title is TBI Tribal Patient Liaison. And what that involves is increasing TBI education and awareness with our community health providers and behavioral health providers, as well as facilitating TBI education out in our communities with other brain injury specialists such as Dr. Amy Murphy and other neurologists, PT. This is my position is funded under a grant under HRSA. Among other grantees are the Alaska Brain Injury Network, who has a new rural resource navigator. Also, UAA Center for Human Development, and it is managed by the state of Alaska. So, again, my position is to travel around to our communities, provide information and referral via support to our case managers out in the communities. This is so important because, like Dr. Grove said, Alaska does have the highest incidence rate of TBI. Just to give you some numbers, the national rate is 95, as reported by the CDC in 2015. Alaska is 101. More significant, Alaska Natives have a rate of 209 per 100,000 versus non-native rate in the state is 79, nearly doubles. It's important that we get this education and awareness out to our community health providers because they are the front lines out in our communities, and these are where we are missing unidentified individuals who have had mild TBI or have actually been to the ICU and still have not been identified as having a TBI. We're so grateful that Dr. Amy Murphy has visited our state and done so much great work since she's been here. We're very sad that she's leaving, but we're very excited that she's still willing to do education pending her schedule and whatnot, so we're grateful for that. And she's the one who introduced the 2 new screenings, which she'll be talking about in her presentation a little bit more, the Ohio State screening and the Rivermead, which we are going to implement into the community health aid curriculum and the BHA curriculum, and just get more awareness out because these are really important tools to help identify individuals who've had both past and present TBIs. I will leave some of my information. I have a short handout on my position, the incidence rate, and what I will be doing out in the communities. I also have a couple of business cards if you're interested, and I will leave those there. Thank you.